wash my soul in the ocean, in the tears of God, I let it go.
Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from AstroLada.com, and these are your astrology videos for April 2022. The April 2022 is full of new beginnings again. All planets are moving direct, so we're continuing into new territory. A lot of new unexpected events for the whole world, but for us personally as well, where we're required to adapt and to act very fast, and we'll be surprised constantly. And the eclipses are starting. The eclipses! The whole financial situation and economy might be shaken. We already can feel it a month before that with an eclipse in Taurus, and we all have to adapt very quickly. Let's find out how it will affect you personally. It's going to be a very exciting month. And Jupiter-Neptune Conjunction, wow, this is divine blessings that are given to us. They almost like can fall on our lap, and divine intuition. So let's see how to adapt. But first I wanted to excitedly to tell you that I'm doing a course of 6 months. Me personally, I rarely do courses, that how to interpret the natal chart, the AstroLada method. We're going to be using all techniques that I've gathered from Western Babylonian, Greek, Vedic astrology that work the best, and I'll teach you these techniques, how to read a natal chart, to put it together, to make sense of it. And you need to know minimal astrology, what the signs are, what the planets are, what the houses mean. And I will teach you my methods, and we'll look at different life themes, how to look at love, how to look at career, and how to, if you're analyzing a chart, what's the most important things, where to start, and how to answer questions of astrology very easy. I love easy techniques. I don't like difficult astrology. Astrology should have easy answers. I'm an Aries. I need quite quick, fast, easy answers. Not looking at semi-squares and midpoints. No, it has to be very simple, sticks out. So much fire, political career, fantastic, or whatever, So I teach you how I do that with very easy astrology techniques. Join me. It's 30% discounted for the first 150 people. So thank you so much. Let's start the 12 signs. Leo, rising sun and moon, April 2022. The month on the 1st of April starts with a new moon in your ninth house, one of the luckiest houses in astrology, which is one of the self houses, which is one of the houses that will make you feel aligned to your bigger path, see how the smaller pieces of the puzzle fit into the bigger picture. So you might have around that time, a week before, a week after, a couple of weeks after, till the middle of April, some kind of an aha moment, illumination. Oh, I see clearly the forest from the trees right now. Some kind of a eureka moment sometimes comes, like a download, because the ninth house is where the higher mind talks to us in the language of symbology, in the language of inspiration, in the language of inner awareness, in the language of self-improvement. So some of you might, it's kind of like a renewal of this impulse to self-improve, to learn something more, to believe more in yourself, to widen the horizons in your life. And sometimes it can manifest in a very material way, in the sense that the opportunity to expand your consciousness can appear, to have more faith, to see the broader horizon by a trip to a different place, to a faraway place. Is it a different state, or is it a different country altogether? Or initiating a contact with someone from a very different cultural background than you, or social background. That usually people that are at a higher social level of some sort, that are more erudite or more knowledgeable. People you can call as a teacher. They're not necessarily a real teacher, but they would act as a teacher in your life, where they expand your horizons, where they show you that it is possible to be bigger, or to have your dreams fulfilled, or they show you a way of thinking or of acting that allows you to see the bigger picture, and to, for yourself, and to believe more. Because the ninth house, one of the main meanings of the ninth house is to have faith, to believe. And when you have faith and you believe, you attract bigger opportunities, more luck, more synchronicities in your life. So there is this renewal that this new moon brings you of this faith, of this uh, belief in yourself and in humanity as a whole, and in your future, because ninth house is one of the future oriented houses. You can have like moments of inspiration and insights, because this is very inspirational house, where you kind of download information about the future of your path, where you're supposed to head, what is the next step. And often you can even receive an information or inspiration about something new that you have to study or learn, because how we expand our horizons is by learning more as well. So then for some of you, it might be the opportunity to take a new course, to pre-qualify, for example, to get interested in some topic or some ideology, or something that it's new for you, something that brings you more vitality, excitement, sense of meaning, renews your life force, so to speak, and your hope for the future. So look out for such things. And this new moon will be joined by Mercury at the same time, so Mercury will be also there. So you might receive the piece of information connected to studies, or important interviews connected to foreign travel, to visas, to relocation to faraway places, or some information or some business transaction connected to import, export, or something to do in a foreign investment, for example, or some document that you need to travel, or maybe some conversations about planning a travel that can happen around that time, or maybe an important conversation with a teacher-like figure, or a course that you start that we talked about. So I think also you naturally feel more enthusiastic, more energetic, more lucky, more positive around that time. So look out for signs from the universe, and often the universe communicates to us through another person or through symbology, numbers, birds, animals, and such kind of things, omens, so to speak. They'll be very powerful the start of April. Sorry. Then we have another, so this is one new cycle starting for you. You'll feel it very strongly the first week, 10 days of April. Then there is another powerful new cycle starting, which will be in your seventh house. This is Saturn and Mars joining together for a new 2-year cycle. And these are the two so-called malefic planets, because they're difficult in expression. And wherever they join together, you have some tasks for the next 2 years there that will take you out of your comfort zone. And for you, or might challenge you overall. And for you, this is happening in the seventh house of relationships. So for some of you, it might be time around the 5th of April, and even before that, and a couple of weeks after that, to make some difficult decisions, so important decisions, or even sometimes ruthless decisions, where you have to cut off someone, because those two planets have a bit more like the elimination energy. Saturn is like death with kite. Mars is like very determined and no-nonsense planet, goes for whatever it wants. So if there is something, some of you might have a little bit of a crisis in a relationship with a very close person, with clients, with your marriage partner, or close business partner as well, or some collaborator, or someone that you're close with, where there is escalation of some crisis, and you have to take more resolute decision. You might even have to be a bit ruthless, as I said, and cut off certain person or certain people from your life. There might be a showdown or challenge from another person that is pressing your buttons, that is putting limitations on you, or that is putting deadlines or criticism on you. Saturn is criticism, limitations, challenging you, or trying to, let's say, impose their will on you through Mars, and in a bit rough way. So you might have such kind of a confrontation, or having to deal with such an issue around that time. In the most positive case scenario, it can indicate undertaking something new, because it's a new cycle starting with another person, or a very important person in your life, like your partner, or business partner, or collaborator, or marriage partner, undertaking some difficult tasks in their life, where they have to put a lot of willpower, a lot of soldier-like determination and discipline, and do hard work there. And it might take even a couple of years till you see the results of some kind of this kind of um, the results of what you're undertaking. And this is going to happen in later degrees, 22 degrees of Aquarius, that they're going to meet together, which means that the later born Leos will feel it the most. So basically after the 20th degree till the 26th degree, 27th degree, you know. So if you have your sun, moon, or ascendant within those degrees, I have my moon there, you might have a challenging period where you're confronted by another, where you might have to separate and or put boundaries and build walls, or be more strict and disciplined with such people coming to your space, you know, and where you have to take some difficult decisions. So if you meet someone new, they might be of a Saturnian and martial character. And Saturn is really strong in Aquarius, so even if the person has Saturnian qualities that you meet, these qualities will be good for you in a way that they'll organize you, that they'll make you more disciplined. But it can feel still harsh. Such a person can still feel harsh, a bit not so much fun. And also this person should also be able to motivate you. Mars is to motivate you, to drive you, to push your buttons as well. And it can happen by them antagonizing you, so it makes you decide to become more proactive or change something in your life. But just be aware that there is this challenge there happening in your seventh house in April, and that you have to, you know, Saturn and Mars don't react too impulsively. Sleep on it a couple of days. Think on it, deliberate. Saturn is to be deliberate, to think out your strategy well and then act. This is Mars to act, but Saturn is to be deliberate, even if you can discuss it. It's in Aquarius sign, which is communication. If you can, you know, approach in a more aloof manner, in a more distant manner, trying to first settle the emotions and feelings within you before you decide, you know, before you're acting out. I should listen to this advice because my moon is there. Who knows? I'll be, and it's around my birthday, so I hope I'm not batshit crazy with people around me and burning bridges left and right, but you know, always hoping for the best, highest manifestation. Now, then there is another new beginning starting. This cycle is even longer. It's a 12-13 year cycle that is starting in your 8th house. Jupiter and Neptune will be meeting in your 8th house from Leo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they'll meet again in 12-13 years, but they'll never meet again in your lifetime in your 8th house. So this is once in a lifetime experience. It's happening on the 12th of April. I don't expect immediately to see results, but something that around April will come to you as an idea or as a possibility or as an experience might unfold for many years ahead. And in particular, it's affecting your 8th house, which is connected to other people's resources, so mutual resources with the partner, money that comes to you from clients. They can be the birth of a new opportunity. And it should be kind of in an easy way because both planets have a flowing energy rather than in a tortured, difficult way, you know, where it comes to you that there is a possibility for you to other people's resources, to come. Might even sound better than such possibility might be a little bit too good to be true, because Neptune participates and Neptune can make us fly away with the fairies when it comes to the opportunities that Jupiter can bring. But definitely for some of you, maybe not everyone, but you can receive something like an inheritance. Money comes to you through taxes, or money comes to you back from a partner, or someone gives you something, or from some kind of a loan that you receive. And that can open opportunities for many years ahead for you, and it should happen with ease. In some rare occasions, Jupiter and Neptune in the sign of Pisces of losses can indicate as well that you might lose some source of support from another person. It might be emotional, psychological, material, financial. It can dissolve those things because Pisces is a very immaterial sign, and but it's almost like liberating you from bonds that connect you with someone that might have more power over you, and you can dissolve such bonds. Is it, you know, if maybe if you receive money from someone, or maybe from whether it's an institution or whatever. And if Neptune and Jupiter dissolves it, it's almost like being liberated. So there's it's divine grace, because Jupiter and Neptune always indicate divine grace, something that is for the greater good for us, even if it feels like some kind of loss on the stock market now, because eighth house also indicates that, or some losses that happen of your partner, some losses through your partner, but because it's making space for something new, and it's making space for a new source of support from another, or in the life, or your mutual finances with your partner, or in the life of your partner, for example. And but I think, and I'm really hoping, because Jupiter participates, it's mostly that you're going to receive something from another. It's the start of you, which can indicate the start of something new. It's always the ending of something old. That's why maybe the Piscean energy will play out. You lose one sort of support from one source, and you gain another one that is more benevolent, let's say. So you can discover, starting from April, new source of income from you that comes to you somehow connected to others. New source of it can be almost like a divine grace, like a divine blessing to you, because Jupiter and Neptune and Venus will be there, give you things, you attract those things. You don't even have to fight for them, or like go against the wall. It kind of flows to you. So it can come to you through others, to other people's resources, support from others, psychological support as well. It can be the start of a psychological discovery on a very deep level, because eighth house is where we carry the traumas and the emotional pain locked within us. So where a lot of the disease that are based on emotional, because most disease start on the emotional levels, are locked. So Jupiter and Neptune have very releasing influence, very I would say like diuretic, because the eighth house is the house of where we eliminate toxic things from our life. It's also the anus, and where we eliminate other things. So if Jupiter and Neptune have very lubricating influence. They're both kind of wet in nature and lubricating. So I'm not talking just physically it can happen, but I'm that you release toxicity around that time. But on an emotional level, it can kind of lubricate the feelings and allows you to heal some painful feelings from the past and release certain traumas. Whether you work with a psychologist, so it happens naturally, it happens without effort on your part, that you're able to forgive. Both Jupiter and Neptune have quality of forgiveness for past traumas when they're in the eighth house, for past betrayals of trust and hurt of your faith in another person. And it might be a pain that you carry from a relationships from many years ago, or from a betrayal from many years ago, that you're not aware that it's still blocking certain chakras of yours. So it's like an underwater stone for you. But there'll be some kind of a healing, spontaneous, very natural healing process that is happening in April for you, with this conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune. And it might not be immediate. Again, it might take longer time for you to see the final result. But it's some kind of a liberation, because eighth house is a moksha house, to be liberated from attachments, to be liberated from especially attachments to external things, material things, and relationships as well. So this is the healing waters of Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, that you can see even some spontaneous physical healings can happen. Plus, eighth house is one of the houses of addictions, obsession, something that has more control over you, especially because most addictions, whether psychological or physical, are based on past traumas, many of which might be even from past lifetimes, and locked in feelings. And again, this can be a powerful period to start a new like to be liberated from this grip of your inner demons that might have power over you. What else is it? It can start. Eighth house is a house of deep intimacy. Our astrologer Victor even calls it a house of soulmates. When you meet someone on the transits in the eighth house, like I met my husband, it's very intense. It's very tantric. It's carries kind of, especially on the good aspects of like good planets that are gentle, loving, like Jupiter is divine blessings and wisdom, and Neptune is divine love, and Venus will be there, the planet of love. And under good planets as well, I met my husband, for example, but from my ascendant though. So hopefully for some of you, it can indicate the meeting of a soulmate-like relationship, the start, and that can be a long-term one because it's a 12-year cycle. I mean, it might be longer than 12 years, so shorter, but something that lasts a bit, you know, that has a very deep healing influence on you and a very deep emotional, psychological bond. Um, and sexual as well, because this is the eighth house that starts, and it might even be in that it starts in a hidden way, in a more private way, because it's a hidden house, the eighth house. While you see in the other relationship house, that's the more visible one, the official relationship or other business or contractual relationship, you have Saturn and Mars. At one level, you're kind of building walls and saying, these are my rules, you know, I'm not making compromises anymore. And you might be even cutting some connections with a personal close person or business person. On another level, you're opening up and removing all barriers towards, because the eighth house is the deep intimacy of a relationship, the seventh house is the contractual side of it. This is what you do, this is what I do, these are your responsibilities, these are mine, this is what we're in front of society for everyone, you know, we're officially together, whatever, we have contract together. The eighth house is the deep emotional side of the relationship. How much do you trust each other? How deep is the intimacy? How deep is the tantric energy between you, the exchange, give and take of energies between you, not only materially and financially, but physically. And this, the barriers are being removed there by Neptune and Jupiter. I don't have my Jupiter, I can't find it. So you're removing such barriers and opening yourself on a much more tantric level to experience intimacy with another, while putting certain barriers and rules with maybe certain other people. Interesting, you know. And there can be some occult experiences. The eighth house is an occult house, deep understanding and realizations about your spiritual path, or about traumas from the past, about healing, about secrets. If you're astrologer, if you're tarot, or if you're psychic, if you're involved in healing of any way, working with energy, if you're involved with rejuvenation, it can be the start of such business, for example, the start of new, deeper understanding, or the start of studying astrology, the start of studying some mysteries and secrets in the world, delving deep in such kind of, let's say, occult systems like human design, astrology, tarot, psychology. You can start studying psychology, the mysteries of the soul. Or you can start working with such a person, like, you know, with an astrologer or so on. And so deep mysteries that, or you can start some research as well, and you can almost like the information flows to you. It's not like you have to focus and concentrate. It comes to you as a gift. All right, so some secrets also can come to the surface. Eighth house, a house of secrets with Neptune and Jupiter, some secrets that liberate you, that free you from bondage of some sort. Again, it's a liberation house, moksha. Neptune and Jupiter really want to liberate you. It's a divine blessing. Also, it might have an opportunity to invest in something. Eighth house is where you invest with other people or with your partner together in something that is more Neptunian, Jupiterian in nature, Piscean. It might be in oil, in petrol, in gas, all of those things. Gases, you know, are ruled by Pisces. Or it might be in something connected with water, with liquids, or with knowledge. Jupiter is knowledge, with hallucinogenics and so on. It's a lot of other things, but now I can't think of everything that Pisces and Jupiter rule. And of course, Jupiter rules your fifth house, and it's going to join with the ruler of the eighth house. Fifth house is connected with children. Neptune is connected as the ruler of the eighth house with conception. For some of you, it can be very fertile period, for example. As well, the fifth house is the house of children. They can be the start of a very big transformation, and Neptune is the ruler of the eighth house, big transformations in the life of a child of yours, new beginning there, some time of crisis as well, because the eighth house is connected to crisis. But even if Jupiter-Neptune triggers some crisis, a big reversal, sudden reversal in your life. So the eighth house rules deaths and births and sudden reversals out of the blue. And such two powerful planets like Jupiter and Neptune activate this planet of reversals. On the positive level, it can be sudden reversal of a psychological state. Maybe you've been depressed. It can be sudden healing and reversal and process of being released from that. Or it can be a sudden reversal of external circumstances in your life. I hope it's more on the psychological level, because Neptune is more the emotion. Pisces is more sign of the emotional side. But it might be physical things as well. Sudden reversals of material situation connected to others, resources, stock market, or sudden reversal to physical situation as well in some sort. I hope that, because it's two very beneficial planets. Neptune, it's high octave, is divine love. So, and Jupiter is divine. It's the wisdom of God, the knowledge of the angelic realms actually. That it's whatever it comes, certain reversals and sudden surprise in your life in April, it's going to be for the good. It might be shocking at the beginning, but it's going to be like a blessing to you. Plus, Jupiter naturally rules your fifth house, which is good karma that you've created in past lifetimes, spiritual merit. And so it's kind of a lucky house. So hopefully it can indicate this. Plus, fifth house it can indicate it's good financial house as well. In the eighth house, I'm hoping for you it can be like some financial opportunities for some of you as well. And of course, Jupiter is very romantic planet as the ruler of the fifth house, joining with Neptune. It can be some kind of a almost romantic. It's very mystical experience, romantically or sexually. I mean, you can have even very deep sexual connection that you haven't experienced in a while, or that starts, that you experience with your partner, for example, because as I said, the eighth house rules the chakras and the ability to interchange energies between your chakra and another person's chakra. So in intimacy, it can feel like a tantric union. So I should listen to my horoscope and have sex on the 12th of April. I might suddenly download something or experience whole body orgasm or whatnot and break through that Saturnian spell in my 8th house. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent there, but just joking, but just giving some ideas there. Okay, then there is another powerful things happening. Eclipse. We're starting eclipse season, but it's at the end of April, the 30th of April. The sun and the moon move into Taurus and meet at around 11 degrees with Uranus there. Uranus is not far away. New beginning, another new beginning that will be felt for 1 year. See how many new cycles we're having? We don't have any oppositions, which is culmination of a cycle, seeing results from our things. No, all new things that are starting here, all new territories. We have to be very, oh my God, that's a long video I've made. And so the sun joining with the moon and Uranus eclipse, new moon eclipse with Uranus, something very new can happen in your career, the 10th house, or with institutions, authority figures. Maybe even crisis preceded with a father figure, authority figure with a career, but it's making place for something new to appear. If it's sudden change of your work circumstances, of your social status, and especially if you're your sun, moon, or ascendant around 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 degrees, you're going to feel this very strongly, because this is where the eclipse will square your ascendant. But usually when there is an eclipse with the North Node in the 10th house, the ancient text says within 1 year, a person will become like a king. So basically some kind of a promotion, or starting their own business, or having some executive possibilities, that executive opportunities. I remember when I had Rahu transit, Rahu eclipse very close to my 10th house cusp. Within that year, I grew my business from working on my own to working with 15 people. Suddenly I was a boss. You're thrown suddenly in a situation of more responsibility. You're like, oh, I have to learn to swim while in the water, because Rahu and Uranus have this unexpected energy to it. but something surprising. There's a lot of surprises this month, guys. So get ready. It's going to be exciting, not so easy at moments very healing and revelationary. So yeah, and if you want to use your Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in the 8th house and deep dive into understanding the psychology, the occult, join me on my course, which will be 6 weeks starting the start of May. And where I will teach you my method of how to interpret a natal chart with very easy and simple methods. And you need to know some basic astrology for this. So thank you so much.